Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be making this free trouser with elastic at the back, as you can see on the screen. If this is something you're interested in, stick with me and let's get straight to it. So first of all, I'm going to be placing my material with the two sides facing each other, that is the two edges, and I'm just going to rule a straight line at the top, so I'll get my working line. Then first of all, I'm going to measure my band. My band is 4 inches and I'm just going to draw a straight line there. Then after measuring my band, from that part where my band is starting, I'll put in my waist measurements divided by 4 plus 2 inches. So after that, I'm going to just come down from my band and measure my flap measurement. My flap is 10 inches. Then after that, I'll measure my waist to my knee and then my waist to my trouser length plus 2 inches for sewing allowance. Then I'll draw straight my horizontal lines, as you can see like this. At my flap, I'm going to be putting back my waist measurements that I did, and then I'm going to put my lap measurements divided by 2 and connect together like so, as you can see. Then at my hips, I'm just going to divide it into 2. Whatever I get, I'm going to mark it down like so, and then draw a straight line down to the edge of my trouser, as you can see. Now this straight line is going to enable me to be able to fix in my leg and ankle measurements, my knee and ankle. So now I'm going to divide my knee into 4 and then I'm going to place it at both sides. So if I divide my knee into 4 and I'm getting 4, I'm going to place 4 at both sides plus 2 inches allowance, as you can see. My knee divided by 2 plus 2 inches allowance is allowance. You can add more than 2 at both sides. You can add 3, you can add 4, depending on how free you want your trouser to be. So now I'm going to connect all my joining points together from the knee to the flap, and then from the knee to the ankle, straight lines like this. And then at the other side, I'm just going to cut it out, as you can see like this. I'm already cutting it out. Look, just observe the way I'm cutting it out carefully, so I'll be able to cut out your own like this. After cutting out, the next step is to cut the back. So I'm just going to place the front piece on the remaining fabric, as you can see like this. I'll just place it straight, and after placing it, I'm going to ensure that it's aligning together, and then I'm going to trim out the sides. So after trimming out the sides, I'm going to come to my, because the back is bigger than the front, so I'm going to be adding extra inches to the front measurement from the flap side. So at the flap, I'm just going to stretch it out by 3 inches, and at the waist, I'm going to go out by 2 inches and draw a straight line to the flap, as you can see like this. Then at the sides, I'm going to add 2 inches also and connect from at the knee and the ankle, and then connect from the flap to the knee and from the knee to my trouser length. So from that place where I added 2 to the waist and connected to the flap, I'm just going to curve it like so, and then you can watch how I'm cutting it out neatly. So you did the same. So the trouser is naturally bigger than the front, back of the trouser is naturally bigger than the front of the trouser, because it adds this fitting to it at the back. Since the buttocks is bigger and it has more shape, than the front. The front is just straight and the back is fitted. So I'm going to be notching my band allowance. Then I'll come down by 7 inches and notch there too. This is for the pockets. So I'm going to be cutting out my pockets. My pockets is going to be 14 by 14. So I'll be dividing it into 2. That is, after dividing everything, it's going to be 7 by 14. 7 at both sides, but when you stretch it out together, it's going to be 14 by 14. This is me cutting out my pockets, and this is what I'm going to be using for my pocket. I'm just going to be trimming everything and cutting it out together. So now, after cutting out my pocket and notching out where my pocket is going to be, I'm going to place the pockets, the 2 pockets on the 2 sides, with the right sides facing the right side, as you can see. The right side facing the right sides of the pocket, like this. So I'm done sewing these 2 sides together. Can you see what it looks like? So this is it. I'm going to fold it like this, and just run a straight line down. I'll do the same thing for the second side. After sewing it, this is what it looks like. I'm going to pick my pocket piece from here like this, and just make sure these 2 sides are equal. Can you see? These 2 sides, I'll make sure they are equal. Then I'll notch here this side and notch this side also. After sewing this side, here is what it looks like. This is the front, this is the part I notched, and this is the back. So now I'm going to come and hold here like this, these 2 sides. I'm just going to trim here and make it equal like this. Then at this point, I'll notch it in by about half of an inch. Can you see? I notched here by half of an inch. Now, if you want your pocket to be squared, you will leave it like this. But I want my pocket to be curved, so I'll just come here and curve it a bit to this side. Then I'll pick it up like this. Can you see? These 2 edges, and flip it over to the back. Can you see? These 2 edges like this. I'll flip it to the back. Now the wrong side and the wrong side are facing each other. So I'm just going to place it like this and sew it down round to the back. Can you see? Just place it and sew it round. This is what it looks like now that I'm done sewing it. You can see how it is. So now I'm going to turn it inside out. This material is a bit strong because it's a strong material. This should be either chinos or the light sort of jean, but it's very strong. So, but if the fabric you are using to make your own is lighter, it will be easier for you to turn round. So I'm just going to turn it inside out, back to the right face. So I'm done turning it. I'll just put my hand inside and straighten it a bit. So I'm almost done with my pockets, but there's still one more thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and sew it round, like I'll top stitch it, so that it does not start pulling off over time. This is what it looks like after sewing it. This is it. From the front side, this is what it looks like, and from the back side, this is what our pocket looks like. My pocket looks like mine and our same thing. So just put my hand inside and here. So I'll be moving to the next step. I've gone ahead to follow the same steps for the second part of the front. We're going to place the front flap together
and sew a straight line down like this. Then I'll also place the back flap together. This is the back piece of the trouser. I'll place the back flap together and sew it with 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So I'm done sewing the 2 flaps together. I'm done sewing the 2 flaps together. This here is the front and this is the back. I went ahead to double stitch it, but I left about 1.5 inches at this part, at this edge part, because that is what we'll be using to join the 2 legs. And I double stitched it because this flap part is a very sensitive part of our trouser. And this small thing, before you know it, has started tearing. So I stitched it twice. So now I'm just going to open the front piece of the trouser and open the back piece of the trouser too, and place the both sides together with the good side facing the good side. Then I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew the sides down, the 2 sides together down. So after joining the sides, this is what it looks like. Now we're going to pick the front piece and the back piece like this and just join it together using our 1/2 inch sewing allowance down. We'll join it down like this. You do it for the both sides down. Done sewing the 2 sides. You can see that the 2 legs of our trouser is already coming out. So now we have one more thing to do. This part here, this 1.5 inch we left to be able to sew our sides, we'll just open it. You open these seams like this. And yes, you are supposed to open iron all your seam allowance. Don't follow me. Open iron all your seam allowance before you do this step. So I'll just sew it and close this place up. Don't forget to double stitch. Remember, I said this part of our trouser is a bit fragile and it tears easily, so you double stitch it and close it. We're almost done with the trouser. Now we're going to fold our hem allowance. Remember, we left 2 inches, so we're just going to fold it in like this and turn it round. Then for our waist, this is where the pocket is at the front. We're going to fold it down too. Now I want you to pay close attention to this. The way we're going to fold our trouser, we're going to fold it in such a way that is going to overlap on top our pocket. Remember, this is the allowance we left for our trouser, 3 inches allowance. So we'll just fold it like this. We want it to overlap directly on top our pocket like this, so that it will hold it down, and then we'll sew it round. Can you see? You fold here a little and then you fold it down like this. Can you see? So now I'll go ahead to sew the hem of the trouser and also sew the waistband round. Done folding our waistband and our hem, doing the hem. Now for the elastic, we're going to be putting at the back alone. This is how we're going to be doing it. You see this side, the side here, you lose it, and see the side here, you lose it. See, I've already loosed here, so you lose the 2 sides. This is where we're going to be using to pass our elastic through. Now for what we'll be using for our elastic, it will be our waist measurements divided by 4 plus 3 inches. My waist is 25 divided by 4. This is, let's see, this is 6.2. I'll just make it 6.5. 6.5 plus 3 inches, that would be 8.5. No, 9.5. So I'll just cut out 9.5 inches. Can you see? I'll make it 10 because of the sewing allowance. So these are 10 inches for our elastic. Can you see? It's drawing out. This is the 1 inch elastic. The width is 1 inch. So this is what we are going to be doing. I'll be using safety button my safety pin to pass it on through this side. Before then, I'll just look for my lighter and burn the mouth of this elastic so that it doesn't fray after a while. So I'll put this, we're just working with the back alone. I'll put it through here and pass it through. Can see, be careful because we want this part to reach here, so I will be able to stitch it down before taking it to the other side. So, I'll just use my hand and bring this one here like this. Then I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch here. I'll be back. I'm stitching the elastic down. It is, I'm done stitching this part. Can you see it? I'm done stitching it. So I'll just take the elastic through to this side. I forgot to lose here, so I'll just do it hurriedly. I have to pass out my safety pin. So I'll just take the elastic now, so to the other side. Safety pin, okay. At this point here like this, I'll bring out my safety pin from here. Can you see it? See the head? So I'll just bring out my safety pin. Like this. Be careful, hold your elastic well so it does not slip, and then all your work will not be in vain. So I'll just push it back in carefully. Make sure your hand is gripping it, and then take it to your sewing machine and stitch it like this. Grip it tightly. Take it to your sewing machine and stitch it here. Then when you are done stitching it, you just stretch it and close the two sides that you opened here. Close this side and close this side. So here is what our trouser looks like. This is the waist. I'm done sewing it. Remember, I said we'll lose the hem here to put in our elastic. So this is the elastic I'm going to be using. The width of the elastic is 1 inch. Can you see? This is the width of the elastic, 1 inch. So now to get what we are going to be using, you know our elastic is only at the back. So we are going to be dividing our waist measurements by 4. My waist is 25. 25 divided by 4. 25 divided by 4 is, we are going to be dividing our waist measurements by 4. My waist measurement is 25. 25 divided by 4 is, this is 6.2. But I'm going to approximate it to 6.5 for sewing allowance. You can just add 1 inch, but for this one I'm just going to approximate it from 6.2 to 6.5. Let me just add 1 inch. I'll make it 7 inches. The 0.7 inches will cover up for sewing allowance. So now I'm just going to pick my lighter and just burn this part so that it doesn't fray over time inside the trouser and get loose. Now we'll be using our safety button, so just pass it through from the side of the trouser. Remember, we're working with the back, so I'll pass it through this side like this. My goal is to get this point to this side, so that I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and stitch it before I drag it to the other side. Okay, so I'm just going to use my hand to push this one in to this side. Can you see? It's directly on this side line, so I'm just going to go and stitch this place here. I'm just going to stitch it down, then before I come back and drag it to the other side. I'm done stitching it, and this is what it looks like. Can you see? So I'll just drag it to the other side. So here we are. I'll just bring out my safety pin through here, but first of all, let me trim out this thread from what is remaining from where I lose the waistband. So I'll just bring out my safety pin through here like this. You can see I'll remove it, and then I'll bring this elastic to the side here. Can you see? Hold it tight though, because any small thing it can just slip and go back to the beginning, and that will be a lot of work for you to lose everything and start from the beginning. So you hold it tight and bring it to this side as much as you can. Okay, I think this should do. So I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch here. Then when I'm done, I'll just stretch it and close this allowance, this part I lose, to be able to pass my elastic through. I'll also stretch it at this point, like the way this place is, and close the other side. So this is what it looks like now that I'm done sewing the elastic and everything. So this is what it looks like. I'm just going to stretch it like this so I can spread the elasticity around the waist. Then I'm going to hold it from here like this. So I'll place it on top my sewing machine. At the center point here, you want to sew a straight line down, but before then you hold it like this and stretch the elastic to the limit at which it can go. Then you match it, you sew on it down, and then when you come here you stretch it again and you sew it around here. If you don't stretch it like that when you are sewing it, it's not going to, when you are trying to wear it, it's just going to be loosened. So for you to get the elasticity well, you have to stretch